Hey, brother.
Hey, how you feeling?
I am good as gold, man. How are you?
I'm good. I hope work like 15 minutes ago. Yeah, having a dog. I'm at my job, so it's been a been a whole week. It's tomorrow.
So, you said it's been a whole week of that, or what?
Yeah, getting ready for that event because I work at this nonprofit called Life Remodel. So we do
Okay.
neighborhood valorization projects, and
Yeah.
we have these things called Opportunity Hubs, which are kind of like it's like a community center, except it's
Okay.
filled with nonprofits, and they're like used to be vacant schools.
Okay.
hmm
So, what's your role in the event? And just the planning, or actually like the implementation day of?
Um, I'm actually I'm gonna be like the go-to person for the person in charge of everything. Like so,
Yeah.
we're a nonprofit, so everybody got to work.
Yeah. Everybody's wearing like five hats, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
What got you into that?
um, really is like I really just wanting to work with the kids. Really, I want to work with my own kids.
Okay.
So I want to work with black kids. You know,
You mean own kids by like other black people, or you mean
yeah,
own
like
kids like your
like
children?
like black kids in the sense of like from same community I'm from. Because I worked
Yeah.
in the neighborhood I grew up in, so
Oh man, that's dope.
yeah, I wanted to do something with kids. If
Yeah.
couldn't work with kids, I was probably when I worked with college kids. So my
Okay.
thing was just kind of like if I did something, I wanted to like, give something back, or like help somebody not make the same type of mistakes that I did, or just help someone young, like kind of like just make better decisions than I
Yeah.
did when I was younger.
Yeah, like that's the point, right? Of like why we do it so that somebody else can like have it a bit easier.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between a superhero and a supervillain because like when you look at their stories, the superhero and villain, they both have a similar story, like it wasn't easy basically,
Mhm.
or something, tragic happened. And it's like what you do with that experience after that and decide whether or not you're a villain or a hero, you know? And I think it comes down to like you said, it's like the choices that you make, and really I think on some level too, like it's listening to yourself, you know,
Yeah.
like Tyrie was like, "Yo, this is a good idea, Tyrie, do this." And you're like, "All right, Tyrie, I'm gonna do that."
Yeah.
And I think we're all better off when we actually do listen to ourselves because something I noticed and I've been saying in my coaching is like you'll never hear somebody say I shouldn't have listened to myself.
That's right. I ain't never heard that one before.
You know, no one, everybody says I should have listened to myself. So it's like if everybody's saying the same thing, I think it's worthwhile to listen to your own good ideas.
Yeah. I think
So
I was funny too because I was originally when I decided to switch my major to community health, so I got a community health degree. So
okay,
originally I was like what 3.5 years in the geology degree, but it was just kind of like I just didn't like it. So it was
yeah,
one of those things. It's like I could have just pushed on and just got the degree, or I could just or do something I liked and I chose to because it was already a 5-year track anyway. So I was like, okay,
okay,
I'll do another. I'm like, I'll do another year. I
yeah,
regard it. So I decided to do an extra year and do something I actually wanted to do. So I thought I liked geology. I thought I liked it even as a kid until I got older. Then I started going in and realized it was mostly U-boat reports and stuff. And I was like, yeah,
yeah. You're like, man, I thought it'd be a lot more hands on. This what you're
yeah,
doing
pretty
now,
much.
definitely.
Yeah, like the majority of it is really hands off because it's like you spend a lot of time, right? But at least the type of geology I wanted to do, you spend a lot of time observing and studying, studying an object. But in my case, studying like sedimentary rocks and stuff, and then you got the reports on what you've seen, do tests and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, this is I think in some ways there is an overlap because, like with geology, that's obviously, rock formations and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And really it's like, you're helping to build a strong foundation with these kids that you work with.
Yeah.
So it's like, having that strong foundation, like you said, to know things and to be able to do things and see yourself in a better way than you did, so maybe they can do more with it.
And plus, I have that like idea, like especially one thing I like about working with kids is like a lot of kids, like especially with kids, they still kind of have that like a creative mindset. It's like because a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
people they become adults, and because of the stresses of adult life and the pressures of society, a lot of their creativity kind of stalls, and then they kind of lose that part of themselves that was creative. I wouldn't exactly say they lose it, but it kind of goes dormant because you spend so much time focusing on trying to meet standards and the pressures of adult life and just trying to be quote unquote normal that you forget to be yourself, you know.
Yeah, I think, you hit it, that I 100% agree with, like that creativity and that part of us is the way that we are ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
because like I remember too, like I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood, and a lot of the ideas about people that look like me and you, I just accepted. Like I thought it was normal that people just sold dope. And I remember thinking when I was in the 6th grade, I can't wait till my brother's old enough to sell dope because I just saw it as normal, and I knew it was a way to get things. And I embraced a lot of that stuff up until my injury, but I was also the most unhappy I had ever been. And it wasn't until after my injury that I really started to get back to who I was and what was really true for Milan, and do things like, join SLB or speak other languages or even study fashion design. Like, ain't a whole lot of black dudes that are straight that are studying fashion design.
No.
Like, I was like, I'm one of one here. And, but I was like, you know what? Like, if I'm going to be true to me, then I have to listen to me. And I was brave enough to do it. Thankfully, I had a handful of people that were supportive, my parents especially. But, for me, SLB, our first F word here, fraternity, that was a big, big move for me to be more of myself.
Mm-hmm.
How was that for you? What drew you to the fraternity?
I think for me, what it really was is like one, everybody was pretty normal, and another thing was like it was just like at Wayne State, it was like it was really either you in it's black fraternities and a white fraternity. Yeah, you have multicultural, but most of them aren't exactly multicultural. Either you have you, in the middle is like either you have like all Mexicans or Indians or whatever, but SLB wasn't like that at my school. They had just about everybody in there. And another thing too, a lot of the few of the guys I already knew, I just didn't know that they were in the same fraternity until that the one day you're like, I didn't even know because like my brother Damien, for example, I would see Damien all the time because I worked at the gym and I would see him all the time. Same thing with Willie. I would literally see them all the time. I just didn't know they were in the same fraternity. But it was just
Yeah.
like it was really the fact that they kind of did stuff on campus and then they were diverse too. Like it wasn't in the sense of like, okay, we doing stuff, we're catering to a specific group. It was like, oh, we doing stuff because we want to. And then you have a different collection of personalities too. So everybody's not the same. But I am grateful. I am grateful though that I did join SLB because if it wasn't for SLB, I probably wouldn't have when graduated college when I did. Like so, I always tell people all the time, like one of the things that got me through college was being at SLB, having a brother in there with me doing when I was facing burnout, in the library when you get 5 in the morning, making sure I get my papers and stuff done. And,
Yeah.
that stuff, people really got to do, they could be at home, like, but to be there just because you want to see somebody succeed, that says a lot about your character because, again, you're in college, I'm in college, like, You gotta go to class in the morning, just like I go to class. And at that time too, this Willie. At that time, Willie was working full time at the airport, so he working full time at the airport, part time at school, and he said I was sitting here in the library. Like he didn't drop me off at home because I didn't have a car at that time. I didn't live on campus at that time, so yeah, like I appreciated that because I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have took a break, and you know how it is. You take a break, and you might not ever come back. So I was thankful for that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I noticed the longer I've been a brother is the phrase that, we say it sometimes, like, we're bros for life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people say that phrase just because like it sounds good, but like the way I look at it is that we're brothers during life, you know? Like you said, like during my tough time, during when I didn't have a car, during when I was broke, during when I was, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like during life, like we're brothers, not just till we die, but, like during life. And I think, reminding ourselves to actually be there for each other is, man, like that saved me too. Like I wouldn't have done so many things if I wasn't a beta. Like I felt like a number at Western because it was like 24,000 or something like that students.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a number before I became Greek, and then like that, it's a whole other world.
Yeah, it gives you opportunity to see different perspectives, and especially in our case, being at SLB.
Yeah,
You get to see people from just about everywhere in the world. You go out of state, you could have a chapter where it's all Chinese brothers, it's all black brothers, or you have a chapter where it's just almost like all Indian brothers. You never know what you gonna see, the type of people you gonna meet in SLB. It's kind of
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, man. It's nice, and it's like like you were talking about with the kids and stuff, like being yourself and being able to be creative and express like different sides of yourself. You can do that. Like that's where I felt the first place really comfortable after my injury
Mm-hmm.
was with bros. They weren't looking at me broken. They were like, "Well, I fucking met you in a chair, so what do I care?" You know,
Yeah.
it was they're like they were there when it happened, or they knew me beforehand, so like they just saw me as what I was. And I and and two, they were like, "I ain't gonna go easy on you." like you gonna do everything else everybody else do. So yeah, boy.
Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Yeah, we all good.
Okay, cool. I was saying that every man needs a tribe, and I'm glad that So one of the other words that we had on our list of F words is faith. What does faith mean to you?
Um, I guess for me, when I think about faith, it's not only just what you believe, like your personal belief, but it's also like the things that just you intrinsically do. So it's like your intrapersonal beliefs manifesting into intrinsic values, behaviors, and attitudes. Just the things that you do every day that define you, that are based off of what you believe.
Yeah,
So it's like a manifestation of your value system. At least that's how I think when I think about faith. I think about it that way.
I love the way you put that, man. A manifestation of your value system, and whether you're Christian or not, I think the Bible is a real practical manual, and
Mhm.
it mentions that faith without works is dead. Essentially, if you really believe in something, you should be putting effort towards that thing. So in that regard, it should become like, I think faith is directly tied to the world that we create. Like you said, it's in the way that you talk, it's in the things that you do and the things that you also don't do. If like you really have faith in this project, for example, the thing that you're not going to do is not show up.
Yeah, you can even look at it from a point of from a, like just so like civilization standpoint. It's like I can't even you can't even even if you tried to, you couldn't really think of a civilization that didn't have its foundations in some type of faith.
Yeah.
Like you don't just build and create things without any type of value system, without any type of base. You have to have a value system and a base to even like create a society. And just about, I think the majority of all societies are literally they're built and they're built off of faith based systems.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a communal belief in something that's worthwhile, and I think, I love how you talk about manifestation because it is intimately connected to what gets done essentially in your life. And what shows up. And, for me, like having faith in one, that I'm co-creating my life with God, not just that like he's out there somewhere, but like, we're business partners, so like my faith gives me power, it affects how I talk to myself. It affects also what I expect from myself and from my life, like, yeah, it might be difficult and that's fine, but I remind myself that power and solutions are also built into faith, you know, and our faith wants to prove itself. And that's why it's so important to, like you said, if like, you don't have that foundation in some type of belief system, really, you don't even have a direction either in your life, I think.
Yeah, because you got to believe in something. You got to believe in something in order to even just simply go to work. You'd have to have a belief system. You got to believe that it's worth going to work. Because if you didn't believe it was worth going to work, then you wouldn't go to work. And if you didn't really, even to just exist, you have to have a belief system to exist. You can't even exist if you don't have a belief in anything, because then you would just die because you don't believe in nothing.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's funny when people say like, oh, well, I don't have a faith. I'm like, yes, you do. You believe something.
Yeah, I mean, you get up every day. You have certain habits. You have certain behaviors. You have things you do every single day. You got to believe in something to do things every day to have routines.
Yeah. One of the things, another good F word is fun, man. What's fun to you these days?
Um, Me for the most part, I do a lot of reading and studying, and then outside of that, ride my longboard, work out, I got the hands, and occasionally, I try to get back in the poetry book. So, like, I do a lot of different stuff, different things. So, like, you know, I wouldn't even say stay busy, because it's not even me staying busy. It's just things I'm so used to doing. It'd be weird if I couldn't do them, or if I didn't do them. Like, cause it'd be like my concept of time is kind of like, sometimes when I think about time, I'll think of it in a sense it's like, well, I know I got enough time, but sometimes I feel like I don't have enough time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I remind myself sometimes, just like my fraternity name, my beta name, is like I'm living on borrowed time, and I don't know when it's going to run out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for like so, like you, like if people were looking at my life, they might think, "Damn, this dude's doing a whole lot." But for me, like you, like it would feel weird if I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm also like the vice president of our alumni association. We building up over here in Wayne State, so I'm also doing that too. So yeah, it seems it's because it seems like it's like a lot from the outside looking in. But if you're the type of person, because I know you probably like me, it's like you're so used to it that you don't really even look at it that way.
No, I don't see it as a lot of work. I do see it as requiring effort though. But
Yeah.
like I'm doing everything that I do, I'm doing it on purpose. Like today I pushed a 5K at Western for as part of a fundraiser for a new electric wheelchair because mine is
Mhm.
like 15 years old and insurance won't pay for it. But
Yeah.
I thought, it'd be a cool thing to do, instead of just saying a GoFundMe and saying ask for money, let me do something that takes some effort.
Yeah.
And some of the bros showed up and like my parents were there and stuff. My wife showed up for a bit. And yeah, it's like, yeah, you can look at it as like, hey man, I don't want to push no damn 5K. Why would you do that? That's hard. But
Mhm.
for me, it's just a natural thing. Like I like earning stuff. I like challenging myself. So, for me, like it was just something to do on purpose. But I think, like you said, it fits in with the faith story that I'm telling myself about my life.
Sure. And also you gotta think about it too, right? It's like it's one of those things, it's like if you aren't occasionally challenging yourself, then you're not growing. So
Right.
you have to challenge even because, like through life, and I realize this too, especially in my 30s, it's like you go through so many phases in life as like a singular entity that it's like, man, like it is a lot. Like when you think about for real.
Yeah. No,
'Cause you
I
could
hear you, man.
And it's like, and then it's like you could have one phase in life where this one thing wasn't a barrier that you have to push past, but then you go to another phase in life. Now this thing is now a barrier, and now you have to figure out how to get through this barrier instead of trying to walk around it.
Yeah, or just accepted that like, oh, so what? It's hard, or so what? I
Yeah.
don't like it, you know. And I think I was talking to my wife a while back, and I was saying how, a lot of people do give up when it's hard, and she said actually more people give up on the idea of hard. They just
Mhm.
think it's undoable, or they think it's too hard, so they don't even try. And
Yeah, yeah,
I'm-
because once you do it, a lot of times once you do these things, you're like, it's not as hard as I thought it was. I just had to
right,
start.
yeah. I heard a quote that said, "Fear is a mile wide, but only an inch deep." And that made me think that, it does seem scary and unattainable when you first look at things sometimes. But as soon as you start, you realize just how doable it is. You're like, man, I can do this. Look,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know about you, but like when I joined SLB, when I started pledging, I kind of knew what I was doing. I kind of knew what fraternities did. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really know. And it's like, but I trusted myself that it was a good idea. And I think the more that we do that, you can grow a lot faster and do a lot more things because you have a lot more faith in yourself too.
Yeah, I think with me it was like one of those things where it's like I actually asked about the fraternity because I work, Peaches, he was my padrino. We worked together
Yeah.
at this gym, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, around, all that stuff, a lot of different stuff. And I was trying to just check it out. I didn't know he was in the fraternity either until one day I was working at the front desk with him, and he was just talking. He had his tiki on and all that. He's doing some step practice, and I started talking to him about it. And I didn't really know what I was getting into. I had an idea because again, you watch movies like School Days and stuff. We got an idea, but it's like it's really just me taking a leap of faith. Like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was gonna get out of it. But in my mind, I was like, well, look, we're gonna do it now. So
Yeah.
it was what it was.
It's like, you just need a little bit of faith to believe that it's a good idea,
Yeah.
like, hey, this thing is worth doing. I'm gonna start. And like, if it goes crazy, I'll stop, but being able to try new things like that, it keeps the flow in your life,
Yeah.
because like, even in nature, like stagnation is dangerous,
I mean, if you stagnate, you're not really progressing anywhere. It's like you're at a wall. And another thing I was going to say too is like when I did it and all that stuff, it's like yeah, I just was kind of like it was weird, going in at first you didn't know what to expect, but after a while it's like I started to understand it and I started to get it. But after I crossed a lot of people, because I knew a lot of people on campus, I was like popular there, just surprised that I pledged SLB because a lot of people thought I was like, if I would join the fraternity, I would join something else. But, so I got to like, what you doing now? Or all that stuff. When I crossed, it was just surprising because nobody just expected it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I got asked by some people that I knew too in other organizations, like, what are you doing, basically, or what did you do when they found out? Um, but they always respected me for it because they knew I did it on purpose, And I think it can be scary sometimes to go against the tribe, so to speak. But if you're doing it from an authentic place, you get more respect from it. And I remind my clients that I work with too, and my son especially, that those are the type of men that we respect. The men that they're not trying to do it to impress other people. They're doing it because it's authentically them,
Yeah.
For me, it's opened me up to be able to express so many more parts of me, and not have to shy away from it because it's different from other people. So, but man, I didn't expect the conversation to be this good, but it's flowing.
Really?
So I knew it. I like to keep myself very sensitive to the voice of God and like the prompts that make the most sense in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And like I seen your name on IG one day, and I looked at your page, and then I thought, invite that dude to the podcast. So rather than questioning it, I've learned to just say okay. So
thinking about it, just do it.
Right. Most of the time it's not going to be life or death anyway, so you might as well just go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like it's one of those things, right? Just like what is the worst that somebody can take? Either they have time or they don't have time.
Right.
I know sometimes it's like when we ask people something, you never know if they're gonna say, but then you get to a point where you're like, well, the worst they can say is they don't have time.
Yeah, essentially. And that's something that I had to learn too, because I work for myself, and I'm a empowerment coach. So I have clients all over the world, and I'm constantly meeting new people. And being able to present myself from an authentic place, I've learned that that's such a place of power to be able to trust yourself that much.
Yeah, and just being able to just present yourself authentic too. It's like you were saying a little earlier. It's like people respect that because there aren't enough authentic people in the world. Like a lot of times, people think that they think that you have to be a certain way, just to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. But the thing is, it's like you just got to understand that if you're gonna do something and you're gonna do it authentically, you may have to have the ideal in your mind that it may take a little longer for you to get to where you're gonna get to. But if you keep on it, you will still get there. It just might take a little longer.
Yeah. And the thing is too that I noticed along the way, I got it from a friend of mine's wife. She said, she stopped even asking herself, how does she feel about things? And she started to ask herself, do I respect myself more or less if I do it? And it's helped her make a lot more authentic choices, because like even if not everybody agrees, or even if the people that you thought would support you don't, like when you say yes to your own good ideas, you actually listen to yourself and believe in yourself, like you have faith in your own self, then you respect yourself a lot more for the decisions. And then the right people come along and they're like, hey, you're great, I fucking love you, I'm glad you're here. Like the right people will be there.
And I would even say too, to like kind of piggyback on that, it's like when you do that, you gain self-confidence, you gain self-efficacy, and when you gain self-confidence, self-efficacy, your self-esteem eventually increases too when you do things like that. So like increase the confidence, self-efficacy equals increase the self-esteem. I think that's how I look at it though. When I think about it, I think about those things as the components of building self-esteem. So she definitely got the right idea. I never thought about it that way though.
I never did either. And I think that's the perfect way to look at it, because it's pretty black and white. Either you respect yourself or you don't.
Yeah,
Only if you're being authentic, only if you're living a lie or not, And when we're true to ourselves, like I said, you end up finding the tribe that's right for you, and you end up doing so many more amazing things. Because I think, the Bible talks about having grace for something. Certain people are just good at certain stuff. And, when you're not acting authentically, you're trying to force things to happen that you don't have grace for. If I joined another organization, maybe I wouldn't have been as happy with my decision. But I'm like, no, SLB is right for me. And, a lot of the decisions that I make in my life, it's just that of like, yes, I respect myself more for doing this thing. And it's so empowering. Like it gives you confidence, it gives you evidence, it gives you all these things. And then like I said, the right people will be like, man, I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah, and me too is like, even making like that decision to join SLP, I also had it in my mind too. And I still think this way. It's like, it's kind of like my mind, once you join the tribe, you're a part of that tribe, good or bad, you are a part of that tribe. It's kind of, because I always say this too, especially in this era, because you got a lot of people, they join different organizations, then they go join another one. It's almost like, how do you put it? Like, say for example, right? So I'm using this as a rhetorical, right? So say if somebody was like, okay, I'm in like one of the other organizations like ODFI, and they decide to join SLB or vice versa. If I was the person that knew them when they were in that and they wanted to join my organization or my tribe, I will have a hard time trusting them. You get what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah.
Because it's like they invested so much time into that tribe, and now they want to join my tribe. It was just be hard for me to really, really trust it, because, you don't just put years and years into something and then just be like, all right, I'm done with this, I want to go be a part of that one. It's like, I don't know. I wouldn't really know how to even, because I know that happens a lot now, and I wouldn't know how to deal with it if I ever had to deal with it. You know,
Yeah, it'd be hard to believe that you're genuine this time.
yeah,
You know,
that's
and,
what it is.
yeah, and it would be like you said, because it would be either one of two things. One, you didn't listen to yourself in the beginning, and you made the wrong choice, and you knew it, and you stuck with it, or you didn't listen to yourself, and you don't know what you're doing at all, and you're just jumping around.
Yeah, it's you don't want
But
nobody in your org is gonna be running away from problems.
right. Yeah. It's definitely, and that's the thing. I think, when you have the best reasons, and that's why one of the big pillars in my coaching program is self-talk. It's what's the story you're telling yourself? And is it A, empowering? Is it B, authentic? And, are you sticking to it, essentially? Because like when you are living an authentic life, you're making conscious choices all the time. you're constantly deciding this or that. Do I stand for this? Am I going to do the hard thing? And you have to be paying attention. And it's like, once I started paying attention to my own life and my story, I realized just how many people were not paying attention, and they were just kind of just randomly doing stuff. And I think that's why it's so important that men of color especially, we do so much on purpose so that we're not just living some random life.
Yeah.
God gives us all like a lesson to follow here, a plan that's authentic to our life and like stuff that we're supposed to do. And some years ago, I came up with this 100-man theory that for every million people, there's 100 men and women that their progress is the thing that enhances all of us. Like, you can't count on the 99%, but there is always going to be that 1%, that 100 men out of a million that do say yes to themselves authentically enough to push us all forward. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because, like, whenever you look at any industry, you can only name about 3 or 4 people in any industry at any given time that are really excelling and pushing the whole industry forward, But in my opinion, I think I'm a part of that 100. Like, my life kind of looks important. I'm living on purpose, and my faith shows. Where I'm meeting the fruit of my faith.
Yeah.
So, well, brother, I appreciate your time, man. This was a good combo. I think I'm gonna end it here and then chop up the audio and stuff. But yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. You have a good one, brother.
You too, man.
Yeah. Be safe. Peace.